Today I plan on finishing the recoil for showing recoil on the model. Last episode I started doing recoil on the camera and I actually completed that. I did it off camera and that's working pretty good. So I'm going to just show you real quick what that looks like. I dropped a couple clips on my channel, but just in case you are not on my server, I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Going to take a second to hit play because I just started the project up. While I wait for that, what I did to get the recoil working on my model is essentially I used my object shaker, which is from my smooth camera and object shaker asset. Right now it's on sale for $5. And I have essentially I hooked into the animator IK, and whenever the IK occurs, if there is a shake update, which is indicating that there's basically if there's recoil, then it's going to turn on IK weight and it will update the IK on the hands using the position and rotation of that recoil, which is actually passed in from my object shaker script. So I know it's kind of hard to visualize just going off from that. I'm still waiting for the project to hit play. It is being really slow, like abnormally slow. I might have to restart the project. I kind of wonder if something happened. I'm going to restart it real quick. Wonder if Unity decided to crap out on me. Alright, I'm reopening FPS land. Yeah, so basically what's happening is this script is applying the offsets to the hands to show the recoil, and it's getting the recoil values from my smooth camera and object shaker asset. And I'm going to show you how to set that up in a second. Yeah, so off screen right now it's loading still. Had some issues. Okay, so I'm guessing Unity just decided to not work. Alright, so I have, whoops, I still have the test recoil on. Let me turn it off. Alright, so I have camera recoil currently enabled, and I'm just going to spray my gun without actually moving my mouse. So you can see that's enabled, and you can also try and fight it. And the longer you spray, the harder it gets to fight the recoil. Now, as I mentioned, I'm using my asset to add recoil. So I'm going to only affect objects, because if I go to my character here, or actually the first person arms, I have an object shaker on it. So that means I need to allow my shaker or shake data to affect objects. And it's pretty straightforward to use. The magnitude noise is basically the variance in the shake. So if I have this at 0, it's going to shake the same every time, but this it might shake a little more or a little less. The first thing I want to do is probably add some up and down recoil. So now I added that. I set that value to 5, and if I hit, now you can see the gun bounces up. I probably want to add a little bit of rotational too on the side. I believe that's left and right. Let me just bump it up a bit to make sure. Yeah, so that's left and right. So I'm going to change that to like, let's try like 7, and then I'm going to randomly invert that. So sometimes it'll be left, sometimes it'll be right. I think the Y kick is a little much, so I'm going to reduce that. And I think I would like to see it kick up a little bit, like actually move the hands up and down. Okay, that's not horrible. I think I need to reduce the up and down a bit though. And I want it to kick back some. So that's depth on Z. Alright, that's not bad. I just definitely need to reduce how much it kicks back. Okay, yeah, so it's not bad right now. I think that It could be better, but this is definitely a good start. You can see how easy that was to implement though. And for other guns that have like really big kicks, I can just do like one kick. So to give you an idea of what that might look like, I'm just going to duplicate this, and right now it's hard coded because I'm testing. So I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to set the total duration to I say 0.2. I'm going to bump the roughness down to like 5, and see what this looks like. Alright, so roughness might not be fast enough. I kind of wonder if it's using the right one. Oh, I should change the magnitude too. That'll change how high it kicks up. Alright, so one problem is it's actually kicking down instead of up, and that's actually a bug in the shaking asset, and I actually fixed that. I just haven't got that pushed to production yet. But you can see I can like make the arms kick up more, like if it's like a sniper rifle and I want it to kick like really hard, I could do that pretty easily. So I'm gonna go back to my other one though. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. I don't want to play around with it too much because it's pretty good as is. So the recoil on the body is basically done. I do need to actually set it up for third person too. Right now it's only first person, so let me go ahead and go to my prefabs, characters. Right now it's under first person. So all I gotta do is just add the object shaker, and then again add the recoil IK script. And I believe that should do it. Let me just go back and check my weapon handler. And this is test code, that's why it's not commented or anything just yet. Okay. I don't think I'm going to actually use recoil on the server because I don't want the server to process an extra load. And yeah, the hitboxes will be slightly off if I'm not adding recoil, but who cares? It's not really worth bogging down the server over. So what this is doing is it's basically saying if I have authority over this object, then the recoil script to use is going to be the one on the first person arms. Otherwise, it's going to be the one on the third person arms. Let's go ahead and test this out real quick. Need to make a build. Going to take a second because I haven't built in a while. Alright, so I'm going to start the server over here, and I need to open my builds folder up. I'm going to start another client. Over client. Okay. So this guy spawned by the trees, so I'm gonna go run over to the tent so he's in view. Okay, so now if I fire, I can see it's recoiling locally, but it's not on the arms. Now, the recoil is not happening on spectator either, so that's something else I realized at one point I had to fix. Oh, the gun is sticking through the wall. I didn't consider that. I need to look into that. Oh, okay. There's another bug. I need to make it so that it's only that only applies on the owner, not everybody else. It's kind of bad. So one thing I did notice just now is that the bullet fire is not happening on the other players at all. It doesn't look like it's happening on the server. It is though. It's just because I don't have tracers showing on the server, because why would I need to show effects on the server? Again, that's trying to keep load off the server. So I think all I gotta do is I believe just pass in the fire to clients, because I don't think I do that yet. So let's see, command fire. And it looks like the server fires locally, but it doesn't pass in to the other players. I have considered using that, and I might eventually. I've been lazy about it. That's ultimately what it is. I think what I'm going to do is, not right now, not in this video, because it's going to take too much time, but what I will do is pass into the RPC fire. So this is going to be the RPC that all the other players get to know that someone fired a shot. And what I will do is, if the server hits something on its command when it fires, I'm going to cache information as to what it hit. And I'm going to, at least if it's a player, I don't really care if it's like an object, but if it's a player, I'm going to cache that object or whatever it hit and then send that over into the RPC, so that if like you're the only player, you can play the hit sound on your character. That way we know that it, that lines up nice and good. I could probably also do that in the remove health method too, which is partially set up. I haven't really decided on that yet. That's partially also why I'm not doing it. So let's go ahead and also call in the RPC. And this is pretty straightforward. I believe I just have to call fire with the position and with no rollback time, because the server does the rollback, not the players. And if I'm the owning client, I don't need to fire because I already did. So if has authority, exit method. Okay, let's try it out real quick. Filing scripts, doing another quick build. I will look into it though. I haven't found a good solution, or I don't know of one yet. I found one that you can download from the internet, but I don't really like downloading random things from the internet. So if there's one on the asset store, maybe I'll take a look. All right, spawn back in the trees again. So now if I fire, oops, darn it, I clicked away from my window. Back. Kind of complicated. Okay. All right, so now if I fire, still doesn't seem to be going through. No, it's not going through yet. I'm pretty sure the player is getting the fire command, but why it's not going through, I'm not entirely sure yet. So what I'm going to do is add some debug print and see what could be going on. I'm going to keep this over here on the left screen as the server. I'm going to open another one as client. And then I'm going to open the editor as client as well. I just want to make sure that I get this message. Alright, so now I should get some messages once I actually fire my weapon. Oh, but that's not happening. So right there, that's gotta be the problem. So let's look at real quick what could be going on with that. I'm fairly sure this is happening, but let me just make sure. I know you can use breakpoints and stuff, but I like doing this a little bit better sometimes. It really depends on exactly what I'm doing, but sometimes I find this is a little bit quicker. Okay, so what's going on is that the server doesn't think the weapon is on a valid index, which means it basically thinks the weapon's not equipped. Well, let's find out what's going on with that. I have a feeling this bug has been around for a while and I'm just now catching it, because I haven't really tested this code, hence the and more. I need to basically test the weapon code to make sure that it's firing over the network, and that's what I'm doing right now, because I had a suspicion it was not set up entirely. Okay, so the index is -1 and the length is 0. So that means that the server is not populating the weapons when it should be. So let's go check that out real quick. All right. So here's the issue. I think this did work at one point, but I believe I moved this code. So I need to do if has authority or base.isServer. And yes. Okay. So server does not care about recoil effects. This is just some commenting. Only get recoil IK if not server. So basically what I had to do is it wasn't initializing the weapons or the looking or the health if I wasn't a client, basically. So now that I have this done, I think it will work. Okay, so now it's going all the way through. That's good. Let me remove the debug. Okay, now I need to make another quick build and see if the other clients are getting the shot. I also need to go to my RPC here. Alright, I still got that in there. I still want that debug because I don't know if that's working yet. I'm going to do a quick build. Hey, Fet Talk. I don't know if you're in the stream, but if you are, thanks for joining my server. And bring this on over. Okay, I'm going to do this. And I want this one as a server. I want this one as the client. And this one the client. So I should see, whenever I shoot on this client, I should see messages over here. Got it, proceeding, index out of range. All right. So what's going on now is I'm almost certain that the other players are not aware of what weapon is equipped. So if I want to test this real quick, I could probably just run over to the tent. And I just go like in front of here and I rotate my weapon. See how I'm going between pistol and assault rifle, but it only sees the assault rifle. Well, it sees both actually. But yeah, it's basically not cycling the weapons. So that's something else I need to work on. I don't think I'm going to do that right now though. I think I am just going to default to the first weapon and add like a little to-do message. I'll do that right now actually. To do, need to sync which weapon is held to other players and server over the network. I actually have an idea for that. You know, in some games, a lot of people will they'll like spam like their weapon keys, so they like pull out their knife and rifle super quick. I don't really want to spam that over the network. So what I will do probably is just see if the weapon has changed in the sync interval, you know, which is like an unfixed update. And if it has, I will then send that change to the network instead of doing it every single potential frame when they're just mashing buttons. That will definitely cut down on bandwidth. The only downside is it might take a very small fraction of a second for the server to register that weapon change, and it might delay how quickly the player can fire when that new weapon comes up. But the delay is going to be incredibly insignificant. It's going to be basically like 13 to 20 milliseconds, so I'm not really worried about it. Because, you know, whenever you switch weapons, you kind of expect a delay until you can fire, so no one is going to notice that 13 to 20 milliseconds is not a big deal. So I need to actually go to the RPC, and I think I need to actually initialize everything now that I'm thinking about this. I think I need to initialize pretty much everything. Let me just do this. And I think that's all I'm going to move out for now. Like I said, I really need to organize this code. This is stuff I've been working on off camera recently. So I believe under on start server or client, I select the first weapon. Okay, so I also do it under client, and I pass in has authority. So let's see what this does. All right, so it does actually select the weapon if I don't have authority, which means it's set up for other clients. The only thing the owner flag does is decides, I believe, which weapon you set equipped. Yeah. So how that works, I know this looks confusing, so I pass in equipped weapon. I set the index of which weapon to equipped. If it's already set, then ignore it. And then it passes in the owner boolean, and on each weapon, you can set third person and first person model, and basically, depending on if the owner is true, it will decide if it shows for the first or third person model. I think everything's actually already set up now. Let let me just do debug.log A B C, and I need to do if not weapon index valid, then return. Now we go ahead and try this out one more time. I don't think I actually have to do another build. I won't have to do another build. I will need to restart the server though. Okay, server up. Client. Alright, back to this client. Oh man, I'm still getting a null reference, but this is something else now. Yes, so let's follow this back. Basically what's going on now is this shouldn't even be happening. This should only happen on the server, I believe. But let me just follow the code link here. So it calls the RPC fire, which brings me to this, and that goes to here. Oh, that's to ignore layers on the shooter. Okay, that actually makes sense because I don't want to. Alright, so here's where I have to make a decision basically. Is I'm ignoring layers on the shooter whenever I fire a weapon because I want the ray to hit myself. But this is also potentially not good for spectators. Because what it's doing is it's firing at the location and from the position. You know what? I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. Because I think it's just going to be really confusing. And I don't want to confuse everybody. What I need to do is I need to make these hitboxes available to everyone. It looks like they actually are available to everyone. So the no exception is probably in the health script right here. So let's go ahead and just check where I get the reference of that. Alright, so that's also somewhere I probably need to move up. Alright, going to try this again. Server is still up, other client is still up. Alright, so I'm not getting any error messages. Now, that guy's in the window, so if I just kind of go over here and I shoot out this way, I can see tracers now. Perfect. And you can see it's going up on my recoil, so that's actually working now. I do like a strafe and shoot, looks good. I don't know if I can damage other players yet. I am really liking the recoil though. Like if I try to spray, it's about where I want it. It's like at this distance. I think if the first shot's on, I want to land it and maybe the second shot, but I want to make it really difficult to land the following shots. And I think that's about where it's at right now. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I really like that. Okay. Let's go ahead and remove this debug. I don't think it's actually giving damage to the player though. The only way to know is if I'm on the server. So let's take a quick look at that. I'm going to close all my builds real quick here. Clear everything out. Okay. I see I'm applying damage, but I don't think I'm synchronizing damage over the network. Yeah, I mean, this looks okay. I'm just checking over my code. I don't actually have a way to sync up weapon switches yet. I know I said that earlier. I know I randomly threw a to-do in here. I just want to make sure I cover that. Okay. Let's see what else I have for to-dos. Alright, I know that. I'm going to move this to its own method real quick. I'll tell you what that is in a second though. This is basically for spectators. This is my lerp code. I'm not using a network transform, I'm using my own code. And it's significantly smaller than a network transform. I don't know if you've looked at the network transform class, but it's huge. This is all I'm using right here. I don't know if it's, I'm not saying it's better. I've said in past videos I probably will need to adjust it to compensate for lag spikes and whatnot, but right now it seems to be doing okay. For spectators. Alright. So I'm going to cut this code, put it right there. I already forgot what I named my method. Move. Oh, I didn't forget, it was being stubborn because I had the other bracket. There we go. So I can remove that to do now. This is the more part. I'm basically cleaning up some code and stuff. I get a lot of things done. Sometimes I have to go back to stuff. Things that I just can't do or it doesn't make sense to do at that particular time. I need to check if player already exists before instantiating and just reuse/refill health. Well, I already did that. If the character is not spawned yet, then instantiate. If the character is already spawned, so this is an old to do. Delete that. Need to disable respawn and wait for server response before enabling respawn button again. This still needs to be done, but is not important. Fix this. That was basically whenever the spawn point was right on the ground, the player would kind of flicker up and down until you jumped. So overall, we're in a really good position right now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make some quick changes to my smooth camera shaker, and I'm probably going to bring those over real fast. I actually already have most of it done. I just more or less need to actually just delete code. I was trying to make the asset more than it was. Essentially, I was trying to pack it full of features that didn't really make a lot of sense, and I just ended up not really liking the path it was going, so I need to undo it. But I did fix some bugs in the process, so that's good. Honestly, it was under. Let me just look at presets real quick. Alright, so yeah, I need to go take data real quick. And I know this is completely foreign to you and you have no idea what this is. This is my, I'll just show you real quick what this basically is if you're not familiar with it. I'm not going to actually go, I'm not going to make you watch it, but I'm going to just get you a link real quick if you want to. So these are going away. I need to delete this. Iteration types, I need to delete that. Goodbye. Right now I'm just looking for a link real quick. Okay, so here I'm going to link the video um, for my smooth camera shaker asset. This is just if you want to know what I'm working on. That's the trailer for it. There's also other links in there too if you're interested, but I'm not going to really go into that too much. I'm just going to get this fixed. Alright, so I want to delete this, and I want the random seed to be on the bottom. I don't know if you saw, but it was on top. Previously I had it on the bottom, and I actually like it on the bottom. And this code hasn't been released yet, so I'm not really too concerned with changing this around real quick. Okay, my Visual Studio decided to be weird. It's not letting me delete things. Thanks, Visual Studio. Thumbs up. Let's try reopening it. This is the editor portion of it. I hate making editor scripts because I feel like they're a complete waste of time. But sometimes you just have to do it. Alright. Let's see if that fixed it or broke things further. No errors. Random seed is there. I think that's all I had to change. I just need to check one more thing because this was like a work in progress. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm going to just go ahead and export this real quick. I'm going to re-import it. I don't need the demo stuff. I just need the scripts. I'm going to just import those. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to my shake data here, the recoil test. And that looks right now. I'm going to duplicate it, and like before, I'm going to actually increase the influence on this by quite a lot, actually. There we go. And now I'm going to go back to my character, and I'm going to use this new recoil test just to make sure that that fix is working. Whoops, what's going on now? Seems like I have an unrelated error. Something else I broke. Oh, guess my object shaker disappeared. Oh, still there. Maybe it's the something went null on me, and I don't know what it was. Maybe I'm not getting the recoil IK script. This doesn't seem to be related to the changes I just made to the camera shaker. I think this is something else entirely. Yeah, so it's not getting the script. And it seems weird that it's calling several times whenever I fire. I need to look into that. I think I know what's happening. I think what's going on is the reason it's firing multiple times because this is an automatic weapon. So it's running through all this code right here, and it's throwing an error here. But the fire code is what resets the timer. So since the timer is not resetting, this is passing fine, and it's actually just picking up my input multiple times over a few frames, and that's why it's doing that. I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to ignore it for now. That was actually a client host bug that we're just looking at. I have to redo this stuff right here. I need to figure out what needs what. Okay. Yeah, see, it's only doing it like once now per. It's doing it properly now. So now if I go back to my recoil test and I bump the magnitude up to like 3. Let me make sure I'm doing the right one first of all. I'm assuming I am because it looks like it's behaving kind of funny. Yeah. See how it's always going up now? I don't know if you remember before, but at some time it was like going down. It looked kind of weird. But now it's actually always going up. Okay. It obviously looks really dumb, but it's working right now. So that's good. Sometimes I get carried away and I like to play with things. And it gets in the way of progress. I'm sure everyone does that, but ain't nobody got time for that right now. Alright, so I've at a pretty good point. I need to decide where to go from here. Close out of the smooth camera shaker. That worked okay. Close out of this too. What's missing? What is missing? I know the server calls health reductions whenever something takes a hit. However, is that passed over the network? That is the question. I think before I go that far though, what I want to do next is add in handling the weapon changes, because that's going to be a big part, and I want to also add in delays between weapon changes and of course reloads, which I don't have reloading in yet. Right now it's unlimited ammo. Kind of like CS:GO, or probably every other game, how you change your weapon, there's like a moment before you can use it. I want to make sure that that's in there, and I don't think I'm going to have time to do that on camera. So with that said, I don't really have much more I want to do before that. I think that's kind of a priority right now, and then after I handle in the weapon switching, I think I will probably work on passing in dealing damage over the network. Like the server already handles the damage, but I'm not 100% sure if it's passed in over the network yet. And I know that impacts aren't synced up yet. So, for example, like if I shoot a player on one screen and the server thinks I shot the player, but by the time the other players see that RPC, the shot might not look like it hit them. So I need to look at syncing that up as well. Otherwise, I think this is going to be it for now. Thanks for checking out my stream. And again, I have some links in the chat. One is my Discord. One is the smooth camera shaker asset, if that at all interests you. And by the way, it's not just a camera shaker. It can shake objects too. It can shake like canvases, rigid bodies, transforms. Basically, if you watch the trailer, it'll show you. But you can have object shakes react to camera shakes, or you can just shake objects individually and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. I put a lot of time into it. I think if you plan on adding any shakes to your game at all, it would be a super beneficial asset to you. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.